Hey guys, welcome to the Tone Show. My name is Anthony Tone Show Nunez, and today I'm talking about Season 1, Episode 1 of The Gifted, Exposed. From the beginning, we saw this episode is called Exposed, and the exposed is spelled with a capital X. Why is that? Because this is an X-Men show, and Fox has the rights to all the X-Men properties. So this show is in the same property line, basically, as the X-Men movies and Legion over at FX, which is another Fox network. Now, this particular show is about a group of new mutants that we haven't seen before on TV. Now, as far as the review itself, I'm going to have spoilers in here, so make sure you've seen the show before you watch this. Also, I'm going to keep it strictly to what we've seen in the show. I'm not going to include what I know from the comics, like a lot of you know. So we're basically going to talk about what happened in the show. We're going to keep whatever we know of the comics out of the show for those who haven't seen it. So let's get to what happened in episode 1. So basically, episode 1 started with one way to lose, basically, to not get a parking ticket. It's to teleport your way out of it, right? So we met a new mutant, a young woman, basically. Looks like she has the power to open a portal. And basically move from location to location. And from what she explained is she had to have been in the location before and able to in order to teleport safely to that location. If not, you saw the results may vary. So these mutants show up, these two, a woman and a man, Lorna and Marcus, and they show up to rescue this new mutant that she's on the run from the cops. And in the process of them showing up to save her, Lorna gets captured. Now, Lorna's power seems that she can manipulate metal, because when we saw Reed Strucker, who is basically Vampire Bill, if you guys are True Blood fans like I am, Vampire Bill shows up. That was pretty cool. And Vampire Bill, Reed Strucker, that's the name of the character, he's basically the prosecutor, and he's particularly prosecutes mutant cases. So when he showed up to that holding cell, like that special holding cell that looked like it was constructed for mutants, and if you notice, the holding cell was basically made of plastic or glass, because they know that she can manipulate metal, it looks like. So when she was messing with his leg, and she's like, I could just tear this out, because they charged her with attempted murder when she attacked that cop by slamming him against that dumpster. She was letting Reed Strucker know, the prosecutor, the Vampire Bill's character, that she could easily have killed him if she wanted to, but she wasn't trying to do that. So it looks like she can control metal. As far as her boyfriend, Marcus, looks like he has like the power, like he has some type of light. He's either made up of light, or he has the power to control light or guide light, like that. He has like, basically he was like a giant light bulb at one point, right? He was blinding everybody. So it looks like him and Lorna share control of the group, and they're basically the mutant underground. So they're trying to save and help people who are mutants, because it looks like they passed these laws that are targeting mutants. Now, as far as the timeline of the show, they talk about the fact that the X-Men and the Brotherhood are missing. And I'm not sure if this is basically in the same timeline as the X-Men movies. So are they talking about the X-Men from the movies, or are they talking about the X-Men but in this particular universe of the TV show? There's basically no guidance for people who are new to being mutants and are being persecuted. So it looks like the mutant underground, basically, they join in at this point and they assist people who are newly found mutants who are in trouble with the law and on the run. So when they showed up at the beginning to help out that mutant with the power of teleportation, looks like this is something they've been doing for a while now, since they already had like an underground base and everything. In order to be a superhero group or a superhero group on the rise, you need an underground base, guys. Typical, right? Now, it's pretty cool to see the same actor who played, like I said, Bill from True Blood, and the actress Root, who played Root in A Person of Interest. So Person of Interest Root and Vampire Bill are married together on this show. That was pretty cool. Now, the episode's called Exposed, and it's basically because their kids turn out both to be mutants. They're exposed. So Andy looks like he is telekinetic. He has basically the powers to move things and manipulate things with his mind. And his sister, like, she looks like Lauren. Looks like, that's right, Lauren. Lauren looks like she has the power to create these air bubbles that could be like force fields, or she can actually apply force to things with them. She's like basically like Reed Richards' wife, right? It seemed like at one point I thought she was creating like the invisible force fields, but she specified that she can control air and water. So those two are the mutants that were exposed in this episode, and basically their father, Reed Strucker, someone who's been persecuting mutants, had to actually be on the other side of the courtroom on this one and basically be someone who's being persecuted, because when it comes down to his kids, like the guy from Sentinel Services, who looks like Sentinel Services is the federal organization that's in charge of hunting down and capturing mutants. Like Reed Strucker said basically that whenever Sentinel Services gets involved, the mutants tend to disappear. So it looks like the government is actually targeting mutants like a terrorist threat. So basically, Reed had to choose between following what he knows as far as the law. Looks like at one point he was trying to figure out how he can actually fix things from a legal standpoint when he was in a diner with his wife and the kids. But basically, when they told him Sentinel Services was involved, he's like, nah, we're going to run, because looks like basically the government has a no bullshit stance when it comes to mutants. And it looks like their capture resulted in them disappearing. So I'm not sure if experiments are being carried out on mutants, or they just eliminating mutants, period. So it looks like the writers basically set it up so there's no X-Men and there's no Brotherhood. So every mutant basically coming to fruition, finding out that they're a mutant, that they're evolved and they have these abilities, they have to turn to this group of underground mutants to help them. So that's basically how they're gonna explain the fact that they're the mutants that everyone turns to. Now, as far as this first episode, I thought it was pretty entertaining. I really liked the pacing of the episode. A lot of times you watch these shows, like if you guys saw Heroes or any other superhero show, like when people have abilities, it takes a long time to develop the characters to the point where we feel like we're at a point where the exciting things are happening. So I really like the fact that from the beginning there was excitement and there were things were moving and we got up. Everything's up and running at a fast pace, and I really dug that about this episode. So from as far as a first episode, I thought it was a great start. I thought the pacing was on point. The actors they brought in are definitely actors who have some gravitas to them, and we've enjoyed their work in the past. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they have to offer in this particular TV show. As far as the kids, I thought they were okay. That kid, what do you call it, Andy? He has some issues, y'all. Like, I don't know. As far as him controlling his powers, it looks like it's gonna be really interesting when he does start controlling his powers, because it looks like he's a pretty powerful mutant. Usually they have mutants that are more like physical mutants, like, combat mutants. But this guy looks like his power level is off the Richter, basically. You saw he took down almost his whole school just when he had that little anger attack. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see. So I'm not sure where the show is going at this point. Is Reed, since he was captured at the end of the episode, is he somehow going to be left behind? His family, I'm assuming they're going to take his family, move him to Mexico, and they're kind of out of the picture for a little bit. And it's going to be basically this guy who's not used to being around mutants because he's usually prosecuting them. And he's actually going to have to see how it is to be a mutant himself. Not himself, but basically be in the shoes of a mutant. And I think that's how the show is going to be carried out. Basically, we're going to have him having to cooperate with the mutant underground. And we're going to have to basically explore that mutant world through his eyes, through somebody who's usually not very friendly with mutants. So I think that's where the show is headed as far as the path so far. But episode 2 can go anywhere, right? So I'm definitely going to watch episode 2. It's definitely a show that I think from what I've seen seems pretty interesting to me. Now, some of the questions that I had are these Sentinel Services, the spider robot, the Sentinels that they have, are these early development Sentinels? Because they look pretty badass already. Looks like they could adapt to what the mutants throw at them. Are we going to see full Sentinels, basically like we've seen in the movies, like those giant robots? So I'm really interested in seeing what the timeline is, like where does this TV show, The Gifted, fit in with the X-Men movies? Are they even in the X-Men movies? Are in the same timeline as the X-Men movies? Or is basically this is going to be its own separate thing from the movies? That we've yet to see. And I'm also interested in seeing if The Gifted, the X-Men movies, and Legion on FX, are they all going to basically at one point line up? Are they all in the same timeline? That's a question that I have. But basically from what we've seen so far, I thought it was a pretty interesting show. I'm digging the characters, and I'm looking forward to seeing are they going to be more costumey as things go on? Because every X-Men show, you need costumes. Come on. Even if you don't get full costumes with masks, at least coordinated costumes. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I'm also looking forward to seeing what characters from the X-Men universe are explored in this TV show. Pretty auspicious start for The Gifted. This is The Tone Show. If you guys like what you see here, hit that like button. And as always, Tone Show out. Remember to like and subscribe for more Tone Show.